Pictured here is a brew pot. Our pot can hold up to 5 gallons of liquid. We decided to go with stainless steel, although an aluminum pot will suffice and is a bit cheaper. We find that the stainless steel pot holds temperature better and it has a more even heating temperature. Pictured here is a self-contained bubbler for release of gases during fermentation. Not only does it release gas from within, but it also prevents oxygen and other particulates from entering your beer. This is very important to prevent contamination during the fermentation process. This is one of the carboys that we use to house our fermenting beer. This glass 5-gallon carboy allows us to keep an eye on fermentation and ensure our beer is clearing up. You can also use a brew bucket or a Lowe's 5-gallon bucket, as they are both food grade. Pictured here is our copper tube chiller. After being sanitized, this is lowered into our brew pot full of wort. Cold water is then run through this closed system, which helps to cool down the wort. You ideally want your temperature between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and sometimes this is a little bit more difficult to do than others. It kind of depends on the temperature of your water going through your faucet. Thus, brewing in the summertime might take a little bit longer to cool than in the wintertime. Our heat source uses propane to produce over 100,000 BTUs of heat. This allows us to heat our wort extremely quickly. While this is the case, some people say that electric heat is much more efficient than propane heat. Since we are doing small batches, it's not very much of an issue, and you can use whichever one is more accessible to you. A hydrometer measures the gravity of a liquid solution. Basically, this measures the density of your liquid compared to water. Knowing both your original gravity and your final gravity, can allow you to calculate the alcohol content of your beer. In the following graphic, you'll see that ABV equals OG, or original gravity, minus your final gravity, times 131. In the example, the resulting equation comes out to 6.42% alcohol. Not too shabby. Perhaps the most important tool to have when brewing is sanitizer. We use a combination of an acid-based solution called Star San and boiling water to achieve sanitization. This is literally the most important step, as it eliminates bad bacteria that can contaminate your brewing, as well as creates a perfect environment for the yeast to propagate and create alcohol. We use paper towels to cover our sanitized brewing ingredients in order to keep particulates off our equipment. Proper sanitization, like I said earlier, is the most important step in brewing. Whenever you're in doubt, always re-sanitize. It'll pay off in the end. The first ingredient that you need within brewing is barley. Usually you will get these in two formats, dry malted grains and liquid malt extract. Here on the left, you can see that we have dry malted grain, and on the right is liquid malt. These are the body of your beer. They give your beer the color, flavor, smell, and consistency that you're looking for. Shown here are hops. These wonderful little flowers contain something called alpha acids. The more alpha acids that your hops have, the more bitter your beer. The hops here have a low alpha level and are mainly used for an aroma boost to our beer. These are sometimes called aromatic hops, whereas the bittering hops have an alpha level between 12 and 16%. Water. Clean, filtered, and sanitary water is best for brewing, as it does not introduce any extra ingredients into your brew. Yeast is a little organism that gives your wort alcohol. In fact, without yeast, you don't have beer, just wort. Shown here is a yeast starter. This contains optimal levels of yeast, water, sugar, and nutrient. Thanks for watching this short video. I hope you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for our instructional brewing segment coming up in a few weeks.